We are slowly making steps for me to quit YouTube. That one especially has been probably changed our lives dramatically. I'm mentally preparing myself for that. Very overstimulated. First sip of coffee of the day is the best sip of coffee. Good morning, welcome here. My name is Delilah. It is early morning for me, and this is probably the worst time to film this video because we've got the sun rising, like it's literally in my face right now. We're gonna have the sun coming across the screen and there'll be lighting changes, but we're gonna make do because this is what I have to do as a busy mom of four. This is the best time for me to film because the house is quiet. Other than the sound of the laundry going right now, we have some peace and I'm able to sit down and film without interruptions. Assuming they don't wake up early. We've got about an hour. We're gonna see how many we can get through. But today's video is a Q&A. These are some of my favorite videos to film. I feel like I get to connect with you a little bit more and it's almost like a conversation with you. It's very easy for me to film. I don't have a lot of planning or prep and it doesn't take me all week to film. It's just a little sit down, a little chat with you guys, and it's really nice sometimes. I asked you guys on Instagram for questions and you came through. Like, there are so many that I have saved. So I'm not sure how many we're gonna get through, but we're going to try. There might be a part 2 or something of that nature. We'll see. So let's not waste time. Let's dive right in. How's your exercise program going? When do you do it and how long does it take? So this is something I don't think I've really talked about on YouTube at all, but I've mentioned it a little bit on Instagram. I have recently started an exercise program and I never thought I would see the day that I would be someone who would work out consistently. There's a lot of reasons behind it. I am kind of filming a video about it. Whether or not I share it remains to be seen. But I started a 12-week postpartum program. I'll leave it linked down below because it's been really good. It's been very healthy for me. I've explained it more on Instagram and maybe I'll save those to a highlight and you can go back and see because I don't want to explain the whole thing. It's a lot to talk about, but the program itself focuses on healing postpartum. It's not about appearances, but Ashley comes from a Christian point of view. She's really uplifting and encouraging, and her focus is more on healing the body and making yourself strong in order to serve your family, in order to feel better. It's been really good. Having that mindset has been really healthy for me. As someone with a background of eating disorders, I've learned a lot about myself and diastasis recti and the pelvic floor and how it all works together, and it really focuses on healing everything. I'm on week 4 right now. It's a 12-week program. But it's very doable. The workouts are hard, but it's only 4 times a week for 30 minutes. And as a busy mom of 4, that's doable for me. I do it in the morning. First thing when I wake up, I just want to get it over with and move on with the rest of my day. So for me, I do it in the morning, 4 days a week. So far, so good. Yesterday was leg day, so my legs are sore today, but we're doing better. I feel like we're making some progress. I feel like I'm getting a little bit stronger. The reason that I started doing this program is because this 4th time postpartum, healing has just taken a really long time. My body looks the same now as it did like 6 weeks postpartum. I think I mentioned in my last Q&A, the weight just isn't falling off like it usually does. Not that I expect to be, you know, thin and fit into all my pre-pregnancy clothes and all of that, but I just feel very uncomfortable. Like my body hasn't done this before. And I think it's really time that I just focus on healing. Are we going to get exercise content? No. I am not someone to share that kind of stuff. I'm not educated enough. I don't care enough. Like after this exercise program, I wouldn't mind getting back into running. That's something that I used to do and I enjoyed, but I'm not someone to do exercise content. That is not for me. Tips for parenting, homemaking with hubby working big hours. So my husband goes through phases. He has slow seasons and then he has extremely busy seasons. We are about to enter into a very busy season, and so I'm kind of mentally preparing myself for that. I'm so grateful for how hard he works for our family, and that's where I start. I start with gratitude. First, making sure that my heart posture is in the right place. And then practically speaking, I really try and simplify everything. I simplify meals, I simplify the way that we do things. If I can multitask, I'll do it. If there's something that's not really necessary, I don't do it. I have to really prioritize. Right now it's summertime and I have so many projects I could be working on inside, lots of cleaning, lots of organizing, things of that nature. But I'm not doing those right now because right now my priority is being outside and enjoying time with my family. But come fall and winter, my priority is going to be focused inside again. I shared a video a little while back about practical tips for making things run smoother in your home as a busy mom, so I will leave that link down below. There's lots of really good tips in there, but the main point is always try and be one step ahead. I talked about this a couple videos ago, but this is one of the biggest things I've learned since becoming a mom is just try and always be prepared to a certain extent. Like repack the diaper bag when you come home instead of before you leave, so it doesn't take you an hour to leave your house. It's just one less thing to do. If there's something that you're noticing in your home that just isn't working anymore, like for us, I'm noticing that our clothing system isn't working, like specifically our sock system. We have so many mismatched socks, or socks that don't have a pair, or socks with holes in them. Whose sock is whose? It's a whole thing. So I'm starting a new system where instead of buying different colored socks, I'm buying everyone white socks. I actually shared this on Instagram recently. This is my grandma's hack that I learned from her a long time ago. I'm so grateful for her wisdom and her life experience and that she shared that with me because now I can use that in my own family. But I bought everyone white socks. Found 3 different colored Sharpies and each child got a different color. For my oldest, I put a little green line inside each of her socks. So I know that all the green socks are hers, and then so on and so forth. That way they're all the same. It's easy. I don't have to try and look at the bottom of the foot to find the size to make sure I know whose is whose. I just need to look for that little Sharpie mark on each sock and I can match it up to the others. So things like that, simplifying the system, the way that your house works. It takes time, it takes practice, but if you're noticing a problem area in your day, try and come up with a solution for that moment and then pinpoint different moments throughout your day and come up with solutions for those. And eventually you'll come up with a system that really works for you. What do you do to save money as a stay-at-home mom? I'm very thrifty. I've always been thrifty. And from a very young age, my parents have taught me how to spend money wisely. And I am so grateful for that. That's not something that you can learn in school. That's something that my parents were diligent to teach us children. And man, I'm so grateful. Because there are so many times I could have just blown my money, especially before we had kids, even before we were married, but my parents really encouraged me not to and encouraged me to save it instead. They gave me an allowance, and then at a certain age, they stopped buying me clothes and things like makeup and stuff. And I had to spend my allowance money very wisely. I had to buy my own car, I had to buy my own phone, and these things were extremely valuable in teaching me how to spend my money. And these are things that Zach and I are going to be teaching our children as well. I know that doesn't really answer the question, but it starts really early and it's something that you just have to learn over time. That's a huge reason why we are where we are today. Like, I don't think we would have been able to afford a house 1 year into our marriage had Zach and I not been smart with our money early on. And then to be able to afford this home when we did, we wouldn't have been able to do if we had not spent our money wisely. And now that we have kids, kids can be extremely expensive. They go through clothes like crazy, and there's toys, and there's food. You know, they eat a lot of food, and the older they grow, the more food they eat. And so I've had to learn how to spend my money in a different way. I try and thrift as much as possible, and then also having minimal wardrobes for everyone. This also saves a lot of time, not having to organize through so many clothes and washing so many clothes. Having a minimal system is easier, it's less expensive. I try and make a lot of our food at home, especially snacks, because snacks are so expensive. For us, we try and buy snacks with cleaner ingredients, and then it just gets really pricey really quick. So I try and make more of our stuff at home from scratch. It does take more time, but it saves us a ton of money. Also, a lot of our meals are made from scratch. When it comes to decorating my home, pretty much all of my decor is thrifted as well, either from garage sales, marketplace, thrift store. That saves us a ton of money. I mean, mostly I just thrift. I thrift and DIY as much as I can. How do you cope with sleep regressions? Did you ever sleep train? Looking for tips, please. So I have a whole video on babies' sleep. I talked about sleep training, I talked about not sleep training, I talked about our experience with our first 3. I filmed this, I think, when I was pregnant with my 4th. I'll leave that video link down below. There's so much information there that could help you out. But long story short, we have sleep trained in the past. I don't regret that decision. I think in that moment it was necessary and was amazing. But for some of our children, we did not sleep train. Also, that has been a good experience as well. So it really just depends on your child's and on you and your circumstance. I'm all for sleep training. I'm all for co-sleeping. Whatever sleeping situation works for you, do it. Sleep regressions are really challenging. I rely very heavily on the Lord in those circumstances. From an early age, we try and have our babies sleeping in multiple different situations and scenarios. Like we try and have them do contact naps. We try and have them nap out here when they're really little so they can get used to noise. We have them sleep on their own. We have them sleep in other people's arms, in the car seat, in light and in dark, with sound, with no sound, so that they can develop the ability to learn to sleep wherever they are, no matter the circumstance. We have our older children sharing a room, 3 of them in one room, and I tell you, it's been amazing. It took some time to transition 3 of them into a room, but once they got used to it, their sleep improved. They can now sleep wherever we are, no problem. But if you're looking for more tips and advice, I would definitely go watch that video because I share a lot more over there. Tips for overstimulated mama. I have a tendency to get very overstimulated very easily. A lot of noise can be hard for me sometimes, even when it's happy noises. I am an introvert and I like quiet, and as a mom of 4, I don't have that very often. So this is definitely an area I struggle with, especially by the end of the day. I feel very, very overstimulated. So things that I do is, first of all, if I can, step away for a moment. I know that's not always possible. Or I'll send my kids outside in summertime. I'll send them to the backyard. In wintertime, I'll send them to the basement. But again, I know that's not always possible. So in those moments, even if I can't like send them away to have some quiet, I will get them doing something. Some audio books. Our Yoto player is amazing. I like to have some books or puzzles or something kind of set aside for moments like that are new and fun and interesting for them that they haven't looked at in a really long time. So that it captures their attention for a period of time, and it gives me a moment to just breathe. I will sit and I will read my Bible and just decompress. Worship music is also amazing in those moments when I can't really just send them away. That often changes the mood because they can dance, they can get their energy out, and I can listen to worship. What do your children do on long drives and road trips? So on really long drives, we do allow our children to watch a movie or two, but we certainly don't rely on that the whole time. We do not do iPad. We tried. Wasn't a good idea. So we've decided not to do that at all. Audiobooks are amazing. We have Audible, so we listen to a lot of audiobooks. Our kids also have the Yoto player, like I mentioned, so they'll listen to that. We let them each bring a toy. And then we also have like a number of books in the van as well. So they will read books, they will color, and then play with the toys that they bring. This is something we do on a very regular basis. We drive a lot. We do a lot of traveling. So this is something that they've become accustomed to. That also makes it a lot easier. Now that the bathroom is done and baby girl is getting older, any more home renos in the works? There's a lot that we want to do, but we need to choose which one we're going to prioritize. So we want to do the kids' rooms. We're going to be moving the girls into their own room and the boys into their own room soon. So I want to make the girls' room girly and the boys' room boyish, and I want to decorate them all cute. But I don't know how much of a priority that's going to be this winter. We for sure want to focus on the basement. So last year we wanted to focus on the basement and time just kind of got away from us. We're also in the middle of a bathroom renovation, though we weren't doing most of the work for that. We had a contractor who was doing it for us. This year we really want to focus on the basement. We did get a rug in there and we did give it a fresh coat of paint, at least in the main area. And that's kind of all we did. So we have plans and ideas, but we need to make it a reality. We need to do like baseboards and get new doors. So we have a spare room that we want to make over, and the main area that we actually use the most, we want to go through that too. We want to make it very usable and cozy and welcoming. There's other areas of the basement we'd like to tackle as well, though I don't know how much we'll get to. I don't want to be too ambitious and say we're gonna do like the whole basement, but like there's a bathroom down there, there's like a big open like sewing area, I guess, or like a craft area. There's also like a cold storage area down there, and like the furnace room where we store a lot of stuff. We would love to go through that room and create a good organizing system, because right now everything's just kind of like piled in there in bins and scattered, and it's not easy to get stuff that's in there. Those are winter projects for us for sure. We also would love to renovate our laundry room. It's our mud room. It's the entrance from our garage. It's also where our laundry is. And so it's a well-used room. It's very high traffic. And I have ideas of what I want to do in there. But again, I don't want to be too ambitious and say that we're going to do that. So I think the big focus for us this winter will be the basement and maybe the kids' rooms. And then next year we'll do the laundry room. Do you think YouTube is still worth pursuing as a newbie? I will be honest and say that no, I don't think it is worth it unless you're willing to dedicate a ton of time and effort into figuring out the YouTube algorithm and making consistent videos. There was a time that YouTube was a good thing to start. Like it was profitable, it was worth it, but now YouTube is very oversaturated, and quite honestly, I think YouTube is dying, at least for people like me who put out content every single week and try to make a living off of it that way. There are other apps that are taking over. People's attention spans aren't as long as they used to be. It has been a huge blessing for our family over the last number of years, and man, I'm so grateful. I love what I do, and I love that I get to connect with you guys, and I love that I've been able to support my family this way. I'm very grateful that I started when I did, before things did become a lot more challenging for creators on YouTube to even earn anything. And I can't imagine how hard it would be for someone who is beginning to actually get somewhere with this. So yeah, honestly, I don't think it's really worth it anymore. If I'm completely honest, I don't really know what the future holds for me here. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be here. I don't know how much longer it's going to be profitable for me to be here or to even make sense. But I will say we are slowly making steps for me to quit YouTube. I want to be able to make the content that I want to create rather than creating content that the YouTube algorithm might push. And playing that game is getting exhausting. And so we're looking at different ways that I can remain on social media in a healthy way that is going to better support my family. Would you consider joining TikTok? Nope, never, never, ever, ever. I will never download that app. I will never be on that app. No, thank you. How have you learned to deal with the criticism that comes from being in the public eye? I have to create boundaries for myself, which means I don't read comments or DMs as much as I used to, which makes me sad because there's less of a connection with you and it feels less personal. But the comment section can be such a toxic place. I know there are so many sweet comments from all of you, and I just appreciate them so very much. I have someone who actually goes through comments and monitors them for me, and she'll send me the encouraging ones, and I am so grateful for all of the kind words that you guys send my way. And I apologize for not being able to read those comments as much as I would like to, but for my own mental health and for my family's sake, I just can't. I've also had to learn how to just detach myself from a lot of that and learn that my worth doesn't come from what people say in the comment section or what anybody else thinks of me, but from the Lord. Any big plans for the upcoming months? Yes, there are some very exciting things happening in our lives or about to happen in our lives, things that we are preparing for and planning. This is going to involve you as well. This is a business opportunity that will probably change our lives dramatically. It's something that I have been praying about for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden God just like opened this door, and I'm really excited about it. I can't say anything about it yet. Nothing is official yet, so like, I mean, this might not even happen, but we are taking steps towards this. It's a very exciting opportunity, and I am so I'm so excited about it, and I cannot wait to eventually announce that all with you. How to deal with a 1-month baby who wants to nurse and be held all the time. Both my daughters were this way. My boys were very independent newborns, very content, very relaxed, but my girls just needed to be held a little bit more. They wanted to be fed more. That I remember, especially with Annabeth, there were so many times that she just wouldn't be put down. And that was very challenging because she was my 4th child. And obviously my hands were busy with a lot of other stuff. I had 3 other children to take care of. Biggest piece of advice I can give is invest in a carrier or a wrap of some kind. Annabeth loved the wrap. In fact, there were so many times where she would not settle any other way but by being in the wrap. Like, I couldn't rock her, I couldn't set her down, I couldn't even feed her. Like, nothing would settle her unless she was in the wrap. She was pressed up close to me and she felt comfortable and she felt close and she felt safe. And in the wrap is where she spent a lot of her time. And it was really sweet because I got to be in contact with her, but I could have my hands free. I was a little bit limited in my movement. That's something that people don't mention about wearing your babies, is that you are limited in your movement. You can't do things the same way you would as if you didn't have a baby strapped to you. But you can still do some things. You can still help your children. You can still make dinner. You can still vacuum the house. You know, you can still do things and baby is happy. The wrap is the biggest thing for me, especially this last time with my 4th. I have been filming for almost an hour. We still have a lot more questions to go, so I'm not sure how much more we'll do, but we'll try here. How do you practice patience with the kids? I always feel guilty when I lose my cool. This is something that is a huge challenge for me. Patience doesn't come naturally for me. It's something I've struggled with all my life, and it's something that very slowly the Lord is teaching me. When my kids are dealing with impatience, I tell them to take some deep breaths. I tell them to refocus, and I encourage them to pray. And then I encourage them to distract themselves with something. And so that is what I try to do myself. I take some deep breaths. I'll try and control my emotions, rein them back in. I will pray. I'll bring it to the Lord and try and have a positive attitude in those situations, though it can be so challenging. And yeah, I lose my cool. I do a lot, and it gives me many opportunities to apologize and to demonstrate what that looks like to my children. It gives me many opportunities to humble myself and to admit that, hey, I'm a sinner too, and I'm learning too, and we're in this together. Do your kids watch any TV and play video games or play on an iPad or phone? We have very much limited screen time, especially this summer. We were really starting to see last winter, even with our minimal amount of screen time, how it was affecting our children in a very negative way. So this summer we've decided to go almost completely screen free. The only times that they're actually watching anything is like on long road trips. We'll let them watch a movie or two, but really that's it. Like, unless they're at Gammy's house and Gammy says they can watch a show, that's the only screen time they've gotten in the last couple of months, and it has been a game changer. It's been amazing. We have completely cut out iPad. They're not allowed to touch our phones unless they have permission from us, and the only time that they're allowed to touch our phones is if they want to take pictures or something like that. That's totally fine. The only time we've ever used the iPad is really for like educational purposes. So The Good and the Beautiful is the curriculum that we use. They have an app with a lot of resources that we go to and use, and they're great. There's also some games in there and stuff, and so that is the only time that we allow iPad, because that one especially has been really negative for our children. And then as for video games, this is something that we do enjoy doing as a family. We play video games on occasion in winter, not in summer. If our children are playing video games, it's usually with us, and it's like a family activity. And then as for shows, well, like I said, this summer we really haven't watched shows at all, and that's something I want to continue on into winter. I want to scrap the shows altogether, because my children have learned how to play so much better without all that screen time. And it's funny because a lot of the time I would turn on the TV so that I could get some stuff done. But now that we don't do screen time anymore, my kids just naturally play so much better. I rarely feel the need to ever turn the TV on. What are your children's favorite games, activities, toys? Weather has been wet and needs some inspiration. So we do a lot of audiobooks, like I've mentioned. The kids have been very much into coloring and crafting and painting lately, so we've been doing lots of art. We've been painting rocks. That has been huge. They've loved that. And yeah, just like coloring, and they've got a whole crafting kit, so they've been crafting to their heart's content. We do puzzles. Honestly, they just play with their toys a lot. The boys, they've got a lot of energy, and so I find they're often just playing together in the ball pit. The ball pit has been amazing. Our nugget couch has been amazing. They'll climb up that and they'll do crazy things on that. Some of our favorite toys are Hot Wheels cars. The boys love those. Magnet tiles are great. You can make so many things with those. And if they don't want to play, I'll invite them into what I'm doing. So I'll get them doing chores, folding their clothes, putting their clothes away, making their beds, doing dishes, vacuuming the floor. They'll vacuum the floor for me. The other day I sent Eloise out to water the plants. That was great. And then cooking with them, inviting them into what I'm doing and teaching them those life skills too. Favorite affordable brands to buy baby girl clothes. So most of our clothes are thrifted. But if I can't find what I need thrifted, H&M is usually my go-to. They do a ton of sales. I've also done Old Navy before, though I do find it's very challenging these days to actually find good clothes from places like H&M and Old Navy, especially for girls. Oh, I'm hearing a child come out. The older Eloise gets, the harder it is to find clothes that are appropriate, clothes that she likes. She loves dresses, like pretty long flowy dresses, and that's really challenging to find. So I just do a lot of hunting. A small shop I really enjoy that often has lots of sales and can be very affordable, close the door, is Jamie K. I will link them down below. Beautiful clothing, very high quality, and reasonably priced as well, especially when they do those sales. Good morning. Hi. How many more questions do we got here? Oh, there's 2 more questions. Do you think I can get through 2 more? You want to sit and read some books?
Yeah.
And play with your cars?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you stay on top of your home, garden, work, wife, and mom duties? I'm drowning. Here, let's set you up over here. This is something I was thinking about just yesterday, actually. Sometimes it does feel so overwhelming. There's so many little things that I need to think about and work on. I feel like sometimes I spread myself out thin. There's so many things that I'm trying to work on all at once. Like I've got so many different work projects. I've got home projects. We've got projects we're volunteering for. And then of course trying to spend time as a family and cooking, like what am I cooking for dinner? And like there's so many things that I have to think about every single day. Sometimes it feels like a lot. So I really try and plan out my day. Every week I try and plan it out very loosely because you never know what's going to happen throughout the week, and plans always change and things come up. So you need to learn to be able to go with the flow, but also have some kind of a plan or an idea of how you're going to tackle the week. So my day planner is amazing. I write in there all the time. Zach and I will sit down at the beginning of the week and we'll go through what he needs to do, what I need to do, how we can help each other, and kind of plan out our week according to that. I'll make goals for myself because if I don't have a goal to work towards, I probably won't do it. So I need to set myself goals to make sure I'm being productive and getting it done. But when it comes down to like the day to day and how I'm spending my time in my day, I try and just focus on one thing at a time. Like I'll take 10 minutes and just say, okay, so for the next 10 minutes, all I'm doing is cleaning. That's the only thing I'm going to focus on. From this time until supper is ready, my only focus is going to be supper. Or if I'm sitting down to work, I will give myself an hour, half an hour of time that I will solely focus on work. So just dividing my day up into these little increments where I'm really solely focusing on one thing at a time, giving my whole attention to that one thing is extremely helpful, because when I try and do a lot of things at once, I'm not giving my whole self to that thing. I end up not doing a very good job or not getting anything done because I'm trying to do so many things at one time. So each day I just try and take it one step at a time. I find that's the best way I can be the most productive. I've been talking for over an hour now, and so I'm going to end this video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have questions that you've been wanting to ask me, feel free to email me. I always have my business email in the description box if you want to send me a message, or follow me on Instagram, and every once in a while I'll put up a question box and I'll answer some questions, so make sure to follow me over there as well. Is that your tiger noise? Do you see a tiger? Let's see. Ooh. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.